everyone, welcome to Poly's Psychology. I hope you all are doing good. आज के इस वीडियो में हम डिस्कस करेंगे CBSE का 2021 का सैम्पल क्वेश्चन पेपर एंड दिस पेपर इज़ ऑफ 3 आवर्स. जैसा कि आपको पता ही होगा, आप एग्ज़ाम देने वाले हैं. टोटल मैक्सिमम मार्क्स है इसका 70 मार्क्स का ये टोटल पेपर है. 3 आवर्स का टाइमिंग है एंड द टोटल नंबर ऑफ क्वेश्चंस इन दिस क्वेश्चन पेपर इज़ 31. एंड यहाँ पर सबसे पहले में ही जनरल इंस्ट्रक्शंस में लिखा है कि ऑल क्वेश्चंस आर कंपल्सरी एक्सेप्ट वेयर इंटरनल चॉइस हैज़ बीन गिवन एंड द आंसर शुड बी ब्रीफ एंड टू द पॉइंट. मार्क्स फॉर ईच क्वेश्चंस आर इंडिकेटेड अगेंस्ट इट. तो सबसे पहले हम सेक्शन 1 के क्वेश्चंस डिस्कस करेंगे. सेक्शन 1 के क्वेश्चंस हैं 1 मार्क के क्वेश्चंस. द फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन ऑफ द सैम्पल पेपर इज Dash is an individual's preference for engaging in one or more specific activities relative to others. तो जैसा कि मैंने आंसर लिख दिया है, आंसर इज इंटरेस्ट. फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन में चॉइस दिया गया है और डैश टेस्ट इन्वॉल्व डाइवर्जेंट थिंकिंग and assess such abilities as ability to produce a variety of ideas. Answer is creativity test. Second question says, the notion of self-esteem is based on Bandura's social learning theory. True or false? Answer होगा false. The notion of self-esteem नहीं, the notion of self-efficacy is based on Bandura's social learning theory. Third question is, the state of physical, emotional and psychological exhaustion is known as dash, which is burnout. Fourth question is, which of the following is true of depression? Answer will be 3. It is caused by low activity of serotonin. Fifth question is, which one of the following best describes a crowd? Collection of people by chance, which is B. फिफ्थ क्वेश्चन में भी ऑप्शन दिया गया है. अ डैश इज अ क्लस्टर ऑफ आइडियाज रिगार्डिंग द कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स ऑफ अ स्पेसिफिक ग्रुप. आंसर इज डी, स्टीरियोटाइप. सिक्स्थ क्वेश्चन इज, बिंदु इज अ रिमार्केबल सिंगर एंड हैज वन मेनी accolades. She is known as a child prodigy. Which of the following terms best describe Bindu's abilities? The answer is A, talent. Seventh question is, if 16 PF questionnaire is used for vocational exploration, then dash is a self-report measure used to identify varieties of psychopathology. Answer is MMPI, Minnesota Multiphasic Personality Inventory. Eighth question is, Mir had no recollection of the bicycle he received as a gift on his 10th birthday, but when Neeta reminded him about the same, he was able to recall it. This is because memories of his birthday were lying in the dash level. Answer is B, preconscious. यहाँ पर एक और क्वेश्चन भी दिया गया है 8th का, which says, Anupam lacks patience, exhibits high motivation, feels burdened with work and always seems to be in a hurry. He needs to take care of himself as such people are prone to ailments like. The answer is C, coronary heart disease. Ninth question says, Ritu was unable to decide about the topic of project she had to submit for the final examination. She therefore did not complete the work before the deadline, was unable to concentrate on the task at hand and seemed to suffer from mental overload. The above signs are exhibiting dash effect of stress. Answer is cognitive. जिस क्वेश्चंस में हमें और मेंशन है, हमें दोनों क्वेश्चंस में से एक को आंसर करना है बिकॉज ईच क्वेश्चन इज ऑफ 1 मार्क. नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन सेज, आफ्टर सेवरल years ऑफ लिविंग एंड वर्किंग इन अ स्मॉल टाउन in Gujarat, Harsh wakes up one morning insisting that his name is Dhruv and that he has to report to his job in Mumbai. He does not recognize the furniture in his apartment or the clothing hanging in his closet. He is completely confused about his current life. He may be experiencing, answer is A, dissociative fugue. Now this question number 10 has also got an OR question. Let's read that. Neha, a 17-year-old girl, has been binging on large quantity of food, more than what most people of her age would eat. She then engages in purging behavior as often as 3 or 4 times a week. She feels as if she has no control over it. She is most likely to be suffering from, the answer is B, bulimia nervosa. Next question, question 11 says, a particular therapist teaches clients in a group setting to recognize bodily processes and emotions that they have blocked from their awareness. The therapist is using client-centered therapy. Answer is false, because the type which has been given here, to recognize the bodily processes and emotions, it is the Gestalt therapy. There is one another or question. When a behaviorist praises the client for using kind words during their conversation and ignores when the client is rude, she is employing positive reinforcement. Answer is false, because she is applying differential reinforcement. Next, question number 12 says, Ritesh sees his parents achieve financial success through hard work. He considers his mother to be his role model. As a result, Ritesh develops a strong attitude towards success and hard work. This is an example of, answer is B, learning attitude through observation. Next question, question number 13 says, on being assessed for intelligence, Vivan scored high in aspects such as attention, observation, analysis, achievement orientation, and Ajay scored high in social and emotional skills, self-reflection, and collectivistic orientation. Which of the following statements reflect these differences seen in Ajay and Vivan? Answer is D. Vivan is high in technological intelligence and Ajay is high in integral intelligence. Next question is a match the following type. Question number 14. Choose the correct match for each behavior with the aspects related to structure of personality. First is grabbing the candy and eating it immediately. This shows the pleasure principle. Second is asking for permission to eat the candy. This shows the reality principle, which is 1. Third is eating the candy is ethically right. When the word ethical has been used, then the answer is second, moral principle. So the answer here is C. Okay, let's move on to the second section of the question paper. Question number 15, read the case and answer the questions that follow. This is the 3 marks question which has started. Okay, so the case is, Mr. John is a 27-year-old man who consulted a psychologist to discuss what he calls his silly habits. He reports that for several years he had to check and recheck electrical appliances as well as doors and windows before leaving home each morning, and again before going to bed. At times, the checking has made him late for work and disturbed his sleep such that he had to get up to check everything several times yet again. When he questioned about the reasons for this behavior, Mr. John reported that he could not stop thinking that electrical appliances may short circuit and cause a disastrous fire, or that his house may be broken into and he will lose all valuables. He recognizes these concerns and the resulting checking as excessive and unreasonable, yet feels compelled to do something to alleviate the anxiety associated with the thoughts. During the counseling, the psychologist found out that sometime before the checking rituals started, a major fire had broken in Mr. John's office and all important papers were destroyed. So the first question that follows the passage is, identify Mr. John's disorder. The answer is C, obsessive compulsive disorder. Second question says, which of the following statements represents his repetitive thoughts? Answer is D. He could not stop thinking that electrical appliances may short circuit and cause a disastrous fire. Third question says, which disorder also comes under the category of obsessive, compulsive and related disorders? Answer is A, excoriation disorder. Question number 16. Similar kind of a question. Now this is a 4-mark question. On November 26, 2008, 35 employees of Taj Hotel Mumbai, led by a 24-year-old banquet manager Malika, were assigned to manage the event in a second-floor banquet room. As they served the main course, They heard what they thought were fireworks at a nearby wedding. In reality, these were the first gunshots from terrorists who were storming the Taj Hotel, Mumbai. The staff quickly realized something was wrong. Malika locked the doors and turned off the lights. She asked everyone to lie down quietly under the tables and refrain from using cell phones. The group stayed there all night, listening to the terrorists rampaging through the hotel, hurling grenades, firing automatic weapons, and tearing the place apart. During the onslaught on the Taj Mumbai, 31 people died and 28 were hurt, but the very next day the hotel received praise. Its guests were overwhelmed by employees' dedication to duty. They desired to protect the guest without considering their own personal safety and their quick thinking. As many as 11 Taj Mumbai employees, a third of the hotel's casualties, laid down their lives while helping around 1,200 to 1,500 guests escape. With the reference to the above case, answer the following questions. The first question is, in reality, these were the first gunshots from terrorists who were storming the Taj Hotel, Mumbai. The staff quickly realized something was wrong. Which stage of the general adaptation syndrome model were the staff in? Answer is B, alarm reaction. Malika locked the doors and turned off the lights. She asked everyone to lie down quietly under the tables and refrain from using cell phones. From these lines, identify the coping strategy used by Malika. Answer is A, task oriented. Third question, which of the following sets of words best describe Malika's hardiness? So when I'm using the word hardiness, you should be able to remember that the answer is C, commitment, control, and challenge. Fourth question is, Selly's gas model or GAS model has been criticized largely for assigning limited role to dash factors. So the answer is of course D, psychological factors. Now this question has also got an OR question, which is again of 4 marks. Let's read the case. In the army, one cannot sit back and relax. A few years after the Kargil war, Deep Chand's regiment was posted to Rajasthan. While setting up an ammunition store, a bomb was accidentally detonated. In the explosion, Deep Chand lost his fingers. Later, both his legs and right arm were amputated. After 24 hours and 17 bottles of blood, he finally gained consciousness. After the accident, lying on the hospital bed, Deep Chand mulled over why he met with an accident. Being an athlete, he felt bad about not being able to run for the state again, but as they say, once a soldier, always a soldier. I trained myself to walk with the help of prosthetics. I learned to ride a scooter and use a computer, and there has been no looking back, he said. Deep Chand has worked for the country without flinching even an eyelid. And in doing so, in an unfortunate event, he met with an accident and lost his limbs. Does he regret his childhood dream to become an army Jawan? The proud man who stands on his prosthetic feet says he does not. The accident could have happened to me in any profession. At least, it happened in the line of fire. I want to be reborn a soldier. There's nothing greater than serving my country, he said. So this was the entire entire passage, and now comes the question. Identify the phenomenon that Deep Chand is experiencing immediately after regaining consciousness in the hospital. Answer is, immediately he is experiencing distress. So the answer is B. Next question. Deep Chand's secondary appraisal of the event would be C, appraisal of his coping abilities and resources. Next question. Based on the below given statement, what will determine Deep Chand's cognitive appraisal of the event? The accident could have happened to me in any profession. At least it happened in the line of fire. I want to be reborn a soldier. There's nothing greater than serving your country, he said. So the answer is D, past experiences and controllability. The last question for this passage is, what was the source of Deep Chand's stress? Answer is B, traumatic events, because something happened to him. Okay, so now we'll move to section 3, to all the 2 marks question. And the first question is, distinguish between social pressures and social stress. So here is the answer which I've written, and you can refer to this answer. The answer is, social pressure is brought about from people who make excessive demand on us whereas social stress is induced externally and result from our interaction with people. Next is under social pressure. It is an internal source of stress generated in our minds. Social stress example social events like death or illness in the family, strained relationships, etc. Next question is, Fatima is experiencing generalized anxiety disorder. Enumerate any two causes with reference to diastasis stress model which may have led to the disorder. So the answer here is, first you need to write about what diastasis stress model is, then you need to describe the two causes. So I've written in this way, diastasis stress model states that psychological disorders develop when a diastasis or biological predisposition to the disorder is set off by a stressful situation. Therefore, the two causes involved are first, presence of some biological aberration or the genetic or inherited, which is from parents. Second is the presence of pathogenic stressors. When the at-risk persons are exposed to these stressors, predisposition evolves into a disorder, and the stressful situation in family or workplace also, they are responsible for making the persons experience the disorder. Next question is, differentiate between hostile aggression and proactive aggression. Answer is, hostile aggression is an expression of anger towards the target with an intention of causing a harm or injury. Proactive aggression is dominating and bullying others without any provocation. Examples for hostile aggression is, a criminal may beat up a person in the community for mentioning his name to the police. And examples for proactive aggression is a teen group trying to dominate younger boys in the playground. Question number 20 is, what are life skills? List any two life skills. So the answer is, life skills are abilities for adaptive and positive behavior that enable individuals to deal effectively with the demands and challenges of everyday life. The two life skills are, first, assertiveness, behavioral skill that helps to communicate clearly and confidently our feelings, needs, wants, and thoughts. It is the ability to express emotions openly, say no to a request, etc. Second, which I have written, is time management. It is the ability to organize your time according to your priorities and to achieve success and satisfaction in life by planning and delegation. Question number 20 has also got an OR question, which is, what is psychoneuroimmunology? So the answer is, psychoneuroimmunology focuses on the links between the mind, brain, and the immune system. It studies the effects of stress on the immune system. Next question is, what is group polarization? You need to write it like this in the point wise, as marks are also allotted to you when you write the answers point wise. Okay, so the answer is, group polarization is a phenomenon in which groups take extreme decisions or are likely to do so than when individuals do it alone. It results due to the strengthening of the group's initial position because of interaction and discussion. This may result in dangerous repercussions. Question number 22 is, a client experiences irrational thoughts that are self-defeating in nature. Suggest a suitable therapy that will help her or him to reduce distress. Also provide the rationale for selecting this therapy. The suitable therapy would be cognitive therapy, because cognitive therapies can locate the cause of such distress, and the rationale for selecting this therapy is because the cognitive therapy tries to find the cause of psychological distress in irrational thoughts and beliefs. This question number 22 again has got an OR question, and it's the last 2-mark question. The question is, analyze the chief benefit to the client in both behavior and humanistic therapies. So the answer is, behaviorist therapy, in behavioral therapies, changing faulty behaviors and cognitions to adaptive ones, and humanistic therapies, the chief benefit is achieving personal growth, that is increasing understanding of oneself and one's aspirations, emotions and motives. Let's move on to section 4. Section 4 contains all the 3-mark questions. So the first question here is, Ananya is a good dancer who is well adjusted in school as she cooperates with the teachers and classmates in all school related activities. She is also liked by friends and family. Identify and explain all types of intelligences that Ananya is exhibiting. The answer is, the types of intelligences that Ananya is exhibiting are bodily kinesthetic intelligence and interpersonal intelligence. Bodily kinesthetic intelligence is the ability to use whole or portions of the body flexibly and creatively for display or construction of products and problem solving. For example, dancers, athletes, gymnasts, these people are high in bodily kinesthetic intelligence. And interpersonal intelligence is the sensitivity to subtle aspects of others' behaviors. It is the skill to understand the motives, feelings and behaviors of others so as to bond into comfortable relationships. तो जैसा कि मैंने यहाँ पर पॉइंट वाइज लिखा है, आप भी एग्जाम में कोशिश कीजिए कि आप पॉइंट वाइज आंसर लिखेंगे, तभी आपको ज़्यादा मार्क्स मिलने के चांसेस रहते हैं, क्योंकि क्वेश्चन पेपर में ही लिखा है कि आप आंसर को टू द पॉइंट लिखें, ब्रीफ लिखें और जो पूछा गया है वही ही आंसर करें. Question 24 is, what is a trait? Describe Cattell's trait theory. A trait is a stable, persistent and specific way of behaving. It is the components or building blocks of personality. Raymond Cattell applied a statistical technique called factor analysis to discover the common structure of personality on which people differ. He found 16 primary or source traits. These are stable and known as the building blocks of personality. Besides these, there are also a number of surface traits that result out of the interaction of source traits. Let's move on to question number 25. Explain the processes involved in the learning of attitudes. So the first one here is learning attitudes by associations. Often positive attitude is developed through the learning of association. For example, students might like a particular subject only because of the likeliness of the teacher. If you like a teacher, you will eventually start to like the subject. So this is the answer. I mean, the example which I have mentioned, it's also mentioned in your book as well. Next point is learning attitudes by being rewarded or punished. If a person is rewarded for showing a particular attitude, it is likely that she will develop that attitude further. If a person is being punished for a particular attitude, she or he will start to develop a negative attitude for the subject. The third point here is, remember the 3 marks questions, so that's why 3 points. Learning attitudes through modeling. Children may form a respectful attitude towards elders by observing that their parents show respect for elders and are appreciated for it. This is an example of learning attitude through modeling. Question number 25 has got an OR question. So the OR question here is, explain the relationship between attitude and behavior. So the answer is, we usually expect behavior to follow logically from attitudes. However, attitude may not always be exhibited through behavior. It may happen that actually behavior is contrary to attitude towards particular topic. Consistency between attitude and behaviors is when the attitude is strong, occupies a central place in the attitude system, the person is aware of his or her attitude, the person's behavior is not being watched or evaluated by others. Okay, so now we are moving to section 5. Section 5 has got all those 4 mark questions. So question number 26 says, Raj would often be seen talking to himself. On questioning, he would state that there were people around him whom he could see and hear when there were no one else around. Identify and describe the symptom of schizophrenia. The answer is, Raj is experiencing the positive symptoms, that is pathological excesses or bizarre additions to a person's behavior. Positive symptoms include hallucinations, that is perceptions that occur in the absence of external stimuli. Auditory hallucinations are most common in schizophrenia, where patients hear sounds or voices that speak words, phrases, sentences. Visual hallucinations involve vague perceptions of color or distinct visions of people or objects. Therefore, Raj is suffering from hallucinations. Other types of hallucinations include tactile, forms of tingling or burning, somatic, something happening inside body like snake crawling inside your stomach, gustatory, food or drink tastes strange, olfactory, smell of poison or smoke. These are the other types of hallucinations. Next question, which is an odd question of question number 26, is Aman is an 8-year-old who has profound difficulty in relating to other people. Often he is found to be unresponsive to other people's feelings, exhibits stereotypical patterns of behavior. Identify this disorder and describe its feature. So the answer here is Aman is suffering from autism spectrum disorder under the category of neurodevelopmental disorder. Children with autistic disorder have marked difficulties in social interaction and communication, a restricted range of interest, and strong desire for routine. They are unable to share experiences or emotions with others. Many autistic children never develop speech, and those who do have repetitive or deviant speech patterns. Here we are making 4 points because these are the 4-mark questions. Question number 27 says Robin is terribly afraid of snakes. His phobia has made him so dysfunctional that he had to take a long leave from his job at the local zoo. This happened when he heard that a new snake enclosure would soon open. Identify the therapeutic technique that would help Robin deal with this problem and explain its process. The therapeutic technique that would help Robin deal with this problem is systematic desensitization. In this process, the therapist prepares a hierarchy of anxiety-provoking stimuli with the least anxiety-provoking stimuli at the bottom of the hierarchy. The therapist relaxes the client and asks the client to think about the least anxiety-provoking situation. The client is asked to stop thinking even if slightest tension is felt. Over these sessions, the client manages to think more fear-provoking situations and gets systematically desensitized to fear. The principle of reciprocal inhibition operates here, which states that the presence of two mutually opposing forces at the same time inhibits the weaker force. Like I have underlined the key terms, you also need to underline the key terms so that it would be easier for the examiner to check your paper. Next, question number 28 says, Radhika was fond of junk food and ate it too often. However, she always felt guilty as she knew junk food was harmful for her health and wanted to give it up. Explain the process that will lead to change in her attitude. The answer here is, in case of Radhika, the concept of cognitive dissonance proposed by Leon Festinger can be applied. The basic idea of this concept is that the cognitive components of an attitude must be consonant, which is opposite of dissonant. In a sense, they should be logically in line with each other. If an individual finds the two cognitions in an attitude are dissonant, then one of them will be changed in the direction of consonance as dissonance causes mental discomfort. In Radhika's case, the change in her attitude can happen if there is a change in her cognition. For example, her cognition should be as follows. Cognition 1 should be, junk food is harmful for health, and cognition 2, which is the changed cognition, it should be, I will stop eating junk food. Question number 29 is, explain the reasons that make people join groups. Answer is, people join groups because of, first, security. Being with people gives a sense of comfort and protection. As a result, people feel stronger and are less vulnerable to threats. Second reason is status. Being members of a well-recognized group gives us a sense of power as others consider you as important. Third is self-esteem. Groups provide feelings of self-worth and establish a positive social identity. Being a member of a prestigious group enhances one's self-concept. Fourth, goal achievement. Groups can achieve goals which cannot be attained individually. There is power in majority. So with this, we complete all the 4-mark questions. Now let us move to the last section of our question paper, which is section 6. And the first question under section 6, which is of 6 marks, it says, question number 30, explain the concept of personality, describe the cultural approach to understand personality. The 6 marks questions also needs to be written in point wise. So the answer here is, personality refers to our characteristic ways of responding to individuals and situations. The main feature of personality do not easily change with time. Its expression in terms of behavior is fairly unique in a given individual. The cultural approach attempts to understand personality in relation to the features of ecological and cultural environment. It proposes that a group's economic maintenance system plays a vital role in the origin of cultural and behavioral variations. The climatic conditions, nature of terrain, flora and fauna determine not only people's economic activities but also their settlement patterns, social structures, division of labors, child rearing practices, etc. People's skills, abilities, behavioral styles, and value priorities are viewed as strongly linked to these features. Rituals, ceremonies, arts, games, etc. are the means through which people's personality gets projected in a culture. For example, children from the hunting-gathering societies are made independent, autonomous, achievement-oriented from a very early age, while the children of agricultural societies are made socialized to be obedient to elders, nurturing to youngsters responsible to duties. Hence, culture matters in the development and display of personality. So this was the 6-mark question. Now this question has also got an OR question. How does behavioral analysis help us in assessing personality? Explain any 2 methods of behavioral analysis with their limitations. So the answer here is observation of behavior serves as the basis of behavioral analysis. An observer's report may contain data obtained from interview, observation, ratings, nomination, and situational test. 2 methods of behavioral analysis are interview and observation, and now we need to describe both of them. Interview is a commonly used method for assessing personality, which involves talking to the person being assessed and asking specific questions. Interviews may be structured or unstructured depending on the purpose or goals of assessment. Observation is another commonly used method which requires careful training of the observer and a fairly detailed guideline about analysis of behaviors in order to assess the personality. This method is a sophisticated procedure that cannot be carried out by untrained people. Limitations include professional training required for collection of useful data through these methods is quite demanding and time consuming. Maturity of the psychologist is a precondition for obtaining valid data through these techniques. Question number 31 says Raj and Raghu are exceptionally intelligent children of highly successful doctor parents. While Raj is their biological child, Raghu is an adopted one. How can you explain the similarities in their intelligence with the doctor parents? What type of test would you suggest to assess their intelligence? The answer is, so the first sentence should be this: intelligence is an interplay of nature and nurture. The evidence for hereditary influences on intelligence comes mainly from the studies on twins and adopted children. Now this correlation has been mentioned in your book in the paragraph form, but here while writing the answer I have converted it into a table showing the category and correlation, where the identical twins read together show 90% correlation, identical twins read apart show 72% correlation, fraternal twins read together show 60% correlation, brothers and sisters read together show 50% correlation, and siblings read apart show 25% correlation. From the above table, we can say that heredity sets a range within which an individual's development is actually shaped, but the influence of environment cannot be denied. There is evidence that environmental deprivation lowers intelligence, while rich nutrition, good family background, and quality schooling increases intelligence. With respect to the role of environment, studies have reported that as children grow in age, their intelligence level tends to move closer to that of their adopted parents. Hence, as Raj and Raghu happen to be the children of highly successful doctor parents, their intelligence level matches even though Raghu is adopted. And the last part of the question, which says, what type of test would you suggest to assess intelligence? The answer here is to assess their intelligence, the suggested test would be the IQ test given by William Stern. Now this question has also got an OR question, which is, as a student of class 12th, you wish to score very high marks in your board exam. You start planning for the same by attending classes regularly, taking notes, setting study targets, etc. Identify and explain the theory of intelligence, which includes planning as an essential feature. Now the answer begins. The theory of intelligence, which includes planning as an essential feature, is the PASS model developed by J.P. Das, Jack Naglieri, and Kirby. According to this model, intellectual activity involves the interdependent functioning of the 3 neurological systems, which is the functional units of brain. Now these are responsible for arousal, attention, processing, and planning. You need to explain all these 3 processes. First is arousal attention, State of arousal is basic to any behavior as it helps to attend the stimuli. Arousal and attention enable a person to process information. Simultaneous processing takes place when you perceive the relations among various concepts and integrate them into a meaningful pattern for comprehension. For example, the RPM test. Successive processing takes place when you remember all the information serially, for example, learning of digits, alphabets, etc. Planning is an essential feature of intelligence. After the information is attended to and processed, planning is activated. It allows us to think of the possible courses of action, implement them, and evaluate their effectiveness. In the given situation, planning helps to set goals, plan a time schedule of study. Arousal forces you to focus your attention on reading, learning, revising, and processing helps to integrate the information into the knowledge system. Hence, with the proper planning, arousal, attention, simultaneous and successive processing, one can easily score good marks. Okay, so with this, we come to the end of this question paper. Now remember, I have discussed all the questions which were mentioned in this sample paper. Remember that you only need to write one question. You need to answer just one question where the or question has been given. I mean where the option is available. आपको सिर्फ एक ही question solve करना है. मैंने पेपर में, ताकि आपको easy रहेगा ये समझ करके, मैंने सारे question solve करने की कोशिश की हैं. And I hope कि ये आपको help होगा ये video. आई रिकमेंड यू टू शेयर इट अमंग योर फ्रेंड्स एज वेल, क्योंकि उन्हें भी मदद हो जाएगा. जो भी बच्चे क्लास 12th का बोर्ड एग्ज़ाम दे रहे हैं 2021 में, उनके लिए ये वीडियो बहुत ही ज़रूरी है, हेल्पफुल है. And in order to score good marks in your CBSE, I would like to tell you कि please read your textbook. जैसा कि आपने देखा कि सारे क्वेश्चन आपके टेक्स्ट बुक के सिलेबस से ही आए हैं. And yeah, I would also like to mention कि just rote learning of your textbook will not do. When you're studying, please try to understand. And if you're having any problem, if you're having any doubts, refer my videos and my notes. So I hope कि आपको ये वीडियो हेल्पफुल था. And thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like and share it among your friends.